Happy New Year, everyone! I am up here 1,200 feet, or a little more than 1,200 feet above Lake Whatcom. One of the better views along the trail here. And I'm going to be focusing on not scowling, because I know sometimes when it's sunny out or I'm looking into the sun, I'll scowl. So I'm going to be really cognizant of that. So I know it's kind of like a little bit of masking, but I don't like when I scowl. So I'm going to be trying to really focus on that. It's kind of hard for me to tell now, but I just wanted to show you guys this awesome body of water. And if you're willing to go up another 2.5 or so miles, you would be basically double this height above the water. But it feels like you can reach over the trees, up over the water. It is really, really awesome. It's almost like really magical, I should say. So, well, I know I'm not looking into the camera because, like I said, I don't want to scowl. That's one of my pet peeves now, and I'm really focusing on that. So yes, it's trying to make it so I don't look angry, because I know scowling can make someone look really angry. So that's why you don't really see me looking into the camera. Okay, so like I said, I'm really going to be focusing on trying not to scowl. Okay, so yes, 2023 has been both a year of failures and successes. And we all know that oftentimes we have to experience failure to really experience the true benefits of success. So I'll first start off with some of the failures of this past year, but then move on to some of the successes. And actually today is a day that I'm actually trying to achieve what could be the greatest feat I have ever achieved in all of my existence. It's actually meeting a goal. So this could make this year actually be a triumph despite the horrific career failures I had this year. And I'm talking horrific. Okay, so yes, some of the ugly sides of this year are, of course, the loneliness. I don't know how it is in other states or even other countries, but I noticed that, like, whenever let's say I'm out running by myself or something, and I want to see if I can try to keep pace. Now, I'm not directly behind a person, but I try to keep a certain distance back. I notice that they either speed up or they will pull off a side and wait till I go by, for a long time, or they'll peel off. I don't know if this could be something to do with, I guess it used to be called the Seattle Freeze or something. I don't know. I feel like it's really difficult making friends up here. Super difficult. I recall when I lived in North Carolina and I was part of this running group, it was easy to organize group runs, trail runs. And a lot of these people were in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. And it would just be easy to organize group runs. Okay, so I'm out of the sun now, so hopefully I'm not scowling too bad. Okay, so yeah, so loneliness, ghosting. Oh, I've experienced my fair share of ghosting this year. Especially when it came to someone that referred me for an analytics job. He ghosted me, getting ghosted after interviews, not having luck after my interviews, not getting selected. So yeah, that was definitely a bummer. Let's see. And I know a lot of you mentioned what I'm doing now, and I'm only going to be doing it for 2 or 3 more weeks, is this deli clerk job that I'm doing right now. Now, some of you are calling it a dishwashing job. No, it's a deli clerk at a grocery store. And it's basically the same type of job that I remember working back when I was 18, 19 years old, but I was a courtesy clerk. But the same kind of thing. You're dealing with customer service, retail, and food service, whatever it is. I just remember working a bunch of these different retail and food service jobs when I was in my teens and early 20s. And I just remember, it's oh my gosh, this is so dreadful. I would be even 2 days before I had to go to work, I'd be oh gosh, I have to go to work in 2 days. How do people do this 8 hours a day, 5 days a week for years and years on end? Is this really what work is? It's oh, no wonder why people don't like work, because it left a bad taste of that word work in my head. And I know there's a lot more grueling jobs out there. Yeah, you could be hammering nails all day long, putting wear and tear on your body. But then, I got introduced to some aspects that, hey, work can actually be enjoyable if you're doing something that you're passionate about. Work doesn't have to be something that you dread. And I remember I had my experience last year where I actually looked forward to Mondays. And so, yeah, it is kind of It's been a giant step backwards, working the same kind of job I did when I was 18, 19, even working a similar kind of job when I was like 29 or even in my middle 20s. It's like, oh, is the clock winding down? How soon before I get to go home? Oh, it's break time, 10-minute break, 15-minute break. Personally, I think this 2 10-minute or 2 15-minute breaks and half-hour lunch, I think that's draconian. In today's society, I think that's a little draconian. I think it's like, this is not the 1950s, 1960s. But okay, so yes, it hasn't been the great, it's probably been the worst year as far as like career goes. Okay, now let's move on to the successes, which I'm sure you guys want to hear about, rather than this downer stuff. Okay, so successes. Well, let's start off with getting into gardening. Yes, good old gardening. Actually having success in growing pepper plants, eggplant plants, squash, tomato. Let's see, what else? We had a blueberry bush going, and yeah. So I'd have to say, that was one of the higher successes of the year, is getting into gardening, actually having plants that lived and produced fruits and vegetables. So I'm looking to expand on that next year. Let's see, what else? Of course, being in an area where I can actually have easy access to this, getting along with my roommates, having the place where I'm actually living at, and finally not having to live so close to college campus, putting up with all those younger college students and all their partying. Now, where I was living at before, it wasn't really that bad, but the place I was living at from like 2015 to 2018, 19, yeah, that was pretty bad. But the place I was living at before I moved into where I'm living at now really wasn't that bad. And actually, my previous roommate, he was actually pretty cool. It turns out we ended up getting along, and he's actually one of my better roommates I've ever had of all time. So yeah, that wasn't all that bad. But I'm going back to like 2015 to 2018. Yeah, those were a little chaotic times. Couldn't find parking, and now there's been like instances of like one of the complexes I used to live at. I think I lived at it there from like 2006. Yeah, it was 2016 to 18. Yeah, there's been like fights there. There's even been like, I think, people like firing guns. I mean, I'm not joking. I mean, it's been, yeah. So I'm just glad I'm out of that. And I figure the biggest success I've probably ever had up to date, and I never thought I was going to achieve this, but there's this Strava challenge, and it's basically the goal is to climb 2,000 meters running. Now, that doesn't seem like very much. 2,000 meters is a little over 6,000 feet of elevation gain. So that's like, you guys have seen me do my live streams where I'm going up to that viewpoint. That's about 1,000 feet. So that's like doing that 6 times in 1 month. But there's a lot of people who are trying to just see how many vertical feet they can get in total. And there's like over 200,000 people in the challenge and over 50,000 in my age group. I'm trying to see if I can squeeze in the top 5 in my age group and top 20 overall. So I have to do about around 8,000 vertical feet for a day. I'm over halfway done. I've managed to get in over, I'm going to try to see if I can, for the month, get over 110,000 vertical feet. But for the year, that's where I'm going to be trying to hit 720,000 vertical feet, in combination of cycling, running, and ski touring. 720,000, which comes out to 60,000 vertical feet per month. And so that will be actually the biggest feat I have ever achieved regarding fitness-wise. And I've probably lost a good amount of weight. I'm looking forward to rebuilding back some of my mass. But here's another thing. I'm actually in shape enough to where I can do ultras. It's been over 15 years since I've done an ultra marathon, which is like a race that's 31 miles or longer. It's been that long since I've done one of those races, and I plan to do my first, if all goes well, well, actually, I should be able to do it because I'm starting my next job in 2 to 3 weeks. and it's on a Sunday, I believe, Saturday or Sunday. It'll be a 50K. It's got 7,000 vertical feet of elevation gain. And yeah, I am more than ready for that ultra. Oh, how nice it'll be. So that's another positive thing. Oh yeah, and I should also say, I can't believe I forgot to say this. Yes, the other positive thing, success, is of course having this job that I'm starting in 2 or 3 weeks. Yes, that is the other success. So there's actually been more successes in 2023 than failures. And so I know you're probably going to figure out who I'm referring to, but someone was like telling me, and I love the response that it got. And I love the response that it got, but it was basically like telling me, it's a really defeatist attitude to have. So basically it was like telling me, man, due to your age, you've just got to bite the bullet. You've just got to accept the fact that you're just too old. It may be too late. You're too old. You're just going to have to settle for your dishwashing job. Now, I don't know the exact words, but it's like, you're just going to have to settle for what you're doing now and basically just do it for the rest of your life, pretty much. I'm just like thinking to myself, okay, the chances of the same people being there in, say, 6 months from now are pretty much near zero. It's got a super high turnover rate. Pretty much people do it just as a means to get some extra income while they're going through college. But it's going to be a whole new group of people within a few months' time. And it is customer service. I know I brought this up a few times. You know, what triggers my emotions to be on a negative side when I see like happy couples and like they're, rubbing their shoulder and like hugging. And it kind of just like, it's like a stab in the heart. It's like, do I want to be putting up with that the rest of my life? Hell no. So I'm going to make use of this opportunity that I've got coming up, because worst case scenario, this is my first year going to be doing this tax associate job. But in, say, 3 or 4 years time, once I kind of work my way up, like I say, worst case scenario, I can't find my ideal job, like my true dream job. Well, let's say I just stick this out. In 3 to 4 years, I will be at a point where just over a 3 to 4 month period, during the tax season, I will make more money in 3 to 4 months than I would working full time, if not more, at my current job. I kid you not. Yes, I would be making more money in 3 to 4 months at this current job that I'm doing in, say, 3 to 4 years' time than I would be making working full time all year long at my current job. So if there's anything I should be sticking with, it should be the job that I'm starting with in 2 to 3 weeks. So yeah, I would say, so here's to sum it up. My successes from biggest to smallest. I will say that my biggest success is, of course, succeeding in the interview to start my job that I'm starting in 3 weeks. My second success is achieving the biggest fitness goal I have ever set out to achieve, 720,000 vertical feet for the year. It may not be a million vertical feet, but that becomes more like a job at that point. And I may start losing enjoyment once I'm trying to go for something like that. I'm content with 720,000. My third biggest goal was, of course, getting into gardening. So those are my top 3 successes of 2023. Yep, passing the interview for this job, 720,000 vertical feet, and of course, seeing if I could squeeze in the top 20 in the Strava challenge and top 5 in my age group and gardening. So there you have it, guys. I hope you guys are going to have a wonderful New Year's, awesome and successful 2024. So with that being said, thank you all for watching. Hopefully I wasn't scowling too much. I know I kind of lost track, but oh gosh, I hope I wasn't scowling. That's why I was just trying to be as upbeat as I can, because that helps to kind of reduce the chances of me scowling. I just hate that. I hate looking angry. Okay guys, that's all for now. I've got to head back down because I've got more vertical I got to do. So till next year, guys, happy 2024. Peace.